University, or OSU, cross-country course, now renamed for the Griner family, very generous folks that have helped with that new facility for Oklahoma State. Hosted the NCAA's, now hosting the Big 12s, and God, just fits in. This is a busy week with homecoming and everything. What a great deal for your program to be hosting the Big 12 cross countries.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And like you said, the weekend having homecoming here makes it even better. I think probably we'll end up with a few more fans out at cross country who might come in Thursday and think, well, what are we going to do Friday morning? And here's a championship where you get to watch several top 10 ranked teams compete out at the Griner family cross country course, and looks like the weather will be nice. And so yeah, I think it's going to be great for our athletes. So we'll get a little bigger crowd out there.
I want to get into a preview of what the fans have a chance to see and some of the runners they have a chance to see. But you mentioned the weather on Friday, Saturday should be really good. It'll be kind of crisp. We've got a cold front coming through this afternoon that's going to bring the temperature down a little bit, which I know you say, God, those guys and gals are out there in track tops and track shorts, and they got to be freezing. But no, runners generally like a little cooler temperature, don't they, Coach?
Oh, for sure. And I think generally physiologists will tell you, or exercise physiologists will tell you that 58 degrees is probably optimal, but anything below probably 65 is really nice to run in. And, if you get below 45, then yeah, it starts to get a little bit negative the other way, but that 45 to 65 range is perfect.
Okay, we're gonna have that's for sure on Friday. The other thing too, I wanted to ask you about this. I've been out and seen the course, and thanks to the Griner family for what they've done. This is a lot of people, especially after last year's NCAA championships, commented this is perhaps the finest cross country course in the country, and whether it's collegiate or whatever you're talking about as far as a track to run for cross country, this may be it. You've got some moisture. We got some last night. The weatherman's saying we could have a little more moisture tonight, but then after that, it should be good till Friday. What's this course like when it comes to moisture, and for your runners especially? What kind of? I mean, do they want a little cushion? I mean, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, I think the way the course is designed, it was designed by Jim Barger, who also did Karsten Creek. So obviously he had a good relationship with Coach Holder, and Coach Holder had a lot of trust in him. So the course drains really well. He elevated the entire running surface about a foot above the surrounding area, so it drains exceptionally well. It doesn't hold water, and I think there's some like courses. There's some that are mudders and want a little wetter course, but for us, we like it a little firmer, a little drier. I think we have some pretty good athletes that just respond really well to a firmer course. So we had it, Jim designed it that way, so it'd be stay firm more often than not. And by Friday, I think it'll be, a really good running surface.
All right, and like I said, the price is right. There is not an admission for this, correct, Coach?
No, yep, it's open admission. I think, your admission is you got to bring your running shoes, because if you see much of the race, you're going to move around quite a bit too. It's not just the athletes; the fans move around a lot, the coaches move around a lot, and it's kind of a nice day out at the course to be around. And you mentioned our course, just to again a thank you to the Griners, but you said the nicest course in the country, and for sure, I would one up you and say it's the best course in the world. There's nothing like it anywhere. And we've had Olympians, coaches been doing this for 30, 40 years, all say the same thing, that, man, this thing is unbelievable. And now we've got a lot of universities thinking, man, we need to try to catch up. And, I think Texas A&M built a course, Alabama's building a course, Florida State has one, Missouri just built one. Now people are going to get in the arms race and try to catch us, but no one's coming close.
That's good to know. And again, thanks to the Griner family. By the way, just to run down again, 10 a.m. the men, 8,000 meters. 11 a.m. The women, their event, 6,000 meters, and at noon you'll have your awards presentation. Coach, let's get into this a little bit, and let's start with the ladies. And
Yep.
I know they'll compete after the men at 11 a.m., but obviously you've got one of the top runners in this field in Taylor Rowe, but there's competition. I mean, you look at it, and I know that Sheila McCabe from West Virginia has been very good this year. Iowa State typically has a strong team. They've got a couple of good runners. Jeanette Schraft is one that's done really well this season. So kind of handicap this for me for Taylor. And maybe if you've got, because you've always got some strategy and there might be some, and I know you're trying to win the team race at the same time. You'd love to put that individual top on the podium. So there's some strategy. You've always got that going, whether it's cross country or distance running. You're pretty good at the race strategy. Handicap this thing for me.
Well, you're exactly right. Kaylee McCabe, Taylor Rowe, and Kaylee Lowe from Iowa State. Those three are amongst, I would put them all in the top 15 nationally. They're all in, they're being in the same conference. It might be the deepest conference, through three individuals of all conferences. It's really strong. Those three women, each one of them could win the national championship. Taylor's got her work cut out for her. Obviously, she is the number 2 returner from the NCAA championships of last year. But Kaylee McCabe from West Virginia is like you said, coming on, and she's become a real threat. And she beat Taylor this last 2 weeks ago up in Wisconsin. So, I've talked to Taylor. I said, Taylor, you got our number one thing is we're going to win this team title, and you can go battle these two women and run for the individual title and take some risk, or you can play it safe and kind of let those two do what they need to do, and you just stay in third and guarantee us to win. And Taylor likes the idea of playing it safe and kind of guaranteeing the win, but it's not in her DNA. She kind of listens to that idea and says, yeah, that's a good idea, but when that gun goes off, everything changes. I don't know if I can kind of sit back and watch those girls run away from me. So I expect that Kaylee Lowe, who is not a great finisher, is going to make it really uncomfortable from as long as she can. And Taylor and Kaylee McCabe from West Virginia will kind of hang on to her and then try to hang on, and they're better finishers. And I think if it goes that way, I like Taylor's chances. But like I said, she's up against two really good women. On the team standpoint, I think our women are ranked 7th nationally, and Iowa State's ranked 17th. So we've got a good battle, kind of for that team title. But I like our chance.
Well, and want to mention too Taylor Rowe, who is a junior at Oklahoma State and has had a stellar career, and like you said, is one of the top cross country runners, distance runners in the country. But it also shows just exactly how much attention your program gets. In that she's a young lady from Wisconsin, Lake Stevens, Wisconsin, and I know that when you talk about Oklahoma State track and field and you talk about Oklahoma State cross country, there are no bounds to your recruiting. You recruit nationally and internationally, and so again, Taylor's a product of somebody that said, "Hey, I want to run at Oklahoma State."
Yeah, you're right. We've got a really good reputation, and we kind of draw from all over the country. And like you said, internationally, we've got a girl from Israel in our top 5. We've got a girl from England in our top 5, and then kids from all over the U.S. So it's we've become more and more recognized, and I think it's really, we're not the flashy school. We're not the Oregon or the Arkansas that has a lot of super fancy facilities or a lot of kind of glitz and glitter. But when kids dive into it deep and they start looking at what do athletes do who are like me, who go to this school, they really like what they see. And so for the more cerebral kids, I think, the ones that really look carefully at, let's get past the flash and the glitz and glitter and see what the meat and potatoes are, those are the kids that we do well with, like Taylor Rowe and Molly Bourne, who's from Kansas, is also a returning All-American, and Gabby Henteman from Michigan. Those women all were willing to kind of look past the, they not have been one of the blue bloods over the last 30 years, but certainly in the last 5 or 10 years, we've become, a nationally prominent program.
All right, now we let's switch over to the men's side, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but boy, it sure looks to me like in this conference, this is obviously there's some good teams, but when you talk about the individual runners, the stars in this event, you're talking about two guys. You're talking about Isai Rodriguez from Oklahoma State, and you're talking about Wesley Kiptoo from Iowa State. That's the way it looks.
Yeah, and you are exactly right. And those two guys, either one of them, along with the 2 or 3 other guys, have a chance to win the national championship. I think the race that Isai ran at our Jamboree on September 18th was the single best performance by any cross-country athlete so far this year, and that he broke the course record that was set by the previous national champion. He broke that course record by 25 seconds and beat a bunch of guys who are returning in the top 10 by 30 or 40 seconds. And to me, it just blew my mind. Isai has never beaten Wesley Kiptoo in track or cross country. But I tell people this. When I was a kid, I played one-on-one basketball with my dad, starting when I was about 7. And I probably played 2,000 or 3,000 games against my dad before I finally beat him. But every time I played, it didn't matter if it was dark at 9 o'clock at night, I'd lose and say, let's play again. Let's go again. And my dad would eventually say, it's dark. We can't even see the hoop. We're going in. And every single time I lost, I was sure that I would win the next one. And that's the way Isai is when he races. He just, he goes out, he gets everything, he loses, and he immediately says, hey, let's go again. And I just really admire that fire and that competitiveness, that supreme belief in himself. And he was that way in high school. He's that way here. And I think, he's never beaten Wesley, but he thinks this is the time. And I think he's going to go out and run like he's going to beat him. And, the way he ran, if he runs the way he ran in September, he's going to win.
Well, and Isai Rodriguez, that was a 23:05.8 in the Cowboy Jamboree, and that was against a really good field. Obviously, yeah. Kiptoo and Iowa State weren't here, but that begs another question. I mean, hey, you guys are the hosts. That's the way it works. They choose a host site. That's in Rodriguez's favor. It's his home course, and there's got to be some advantage in that.
He is a really positive guy that draws on other people's energy. He just feeds off it. And so, yeah, I think being here, he's from Ringwood, so his family is going to be here to watch him. His family, friends, classmates. He and AJ Ferrari are pretty tight, and I think AJ will probably be out there cheering him on. AJ's been a really good supporter of our program, just kind of verbally and coming up and, talking to our guys all the time. So we appreciate that. But I think Isai just loves performing in front of people he's close to. So, yeah, this home course advantage, he's had this date circled for a while. We host the national championships here next year, and I know he is already dreaming about that day as well. He just loves running here. I think that's why he ran so hard at the Jamboree. There was no reason to, other than that he was trying to put on a show. And, I think, yeah, I'm excited to see how this race goes.
All right, we've got the format down. 10 a.m. for the men, 11 a.m. for the women's. It's 8,000 meters for the men, 6,000 for the women. The award presentations at noon. As the teams come in here, I mean, I've heard you talking when we've had you on before. You've talked about walking the course and so forth. What access is there this week leading up to the actual event on Friday for the other competitors?
Yeah, starting today, some schools are probably here today. We make it available to them as much from sun up to sundown. Anytime they want to come out there, I think, just being a good host and wanting everybody to have, it's like golf, a lot of people get out and play a few rounds before the tournament starts, just get a feel for it, I think is, not every course does that. Some can't because they're on golf courses and they say, hey, sorry, you can't see the course till race day. But I think that's the beauty of having a dedicated cross-country course is, we can control it. And I think the schools that visit really love the opportunity to have, access at any time of the day. They want to go out there and kind of run around and get a look at it, try to gain a little bit of insight on how to run it.
Well, and I know you don't want to give away strategy, but you probably have a different design, on how to run this for different individuals and different groups. Because a lot of times in your sport, like you say, energy is taken from different people in the group, and there may be somebody to pace the group early. There may be somebody that's going to be the middleman or woman, and there may be somebody that you set up for a finisher. How much fun is that, kind of going through and drawing that up for your teams?
Well, yeah, I love that part of it. And, I've talked about it before, and I love kind of having little, I think, like you said, in the middle of a race, if you look over and see 2 or 3 other bright orange jerseys right next to you at those moments when it's critical and you're really starting to hurt, you're really starting to doubt, but you look over and see that bright orange singlet right next to you, it's just so reassuring, and it instills confidence. And honestly, this idea that, man, I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for her or for him. And so we try to we try to pack run. And often we have a senior or an experienced athlete that is calm, cool, and collected and knows how to say, hey, don't worry about the pacing, don't worry about the position, just stick yourself to me and I'll get you to where you need to go. And we've always been fortunate to have a couple of guys and a couple of ladies like that know how to do this. I think in this race, we've got Isai, who's a group on his own. It's like he's going to go do what he's going to do. And then we have a guy named Ryan Smeaton, who is a fifth-year senior for us and has been an All-American on the track, an All-American cross country, and is just a cool customer. And he'll kind of do a really good job of kind of chaperoning the rest for the first half of the race. And then many of them might beat him, and that's okay with him. He's going to do his part, and then he'll probably be in our scoring five, and will do a good job for us. But he's invaluable in what he can do in terms of calming kids. And then on the women's side, we have a couple of grad transfers that have been just phenomenal for us. Kelsey Ramirez and Clarissa Morales, who are the same thing. They've been through it. They've done this many times. They're now fifth-year seniors, and those two can do a really good job at kind of. We've got some young girls, some freshmen who are, contributing for us. And for them, this is all new. They're middle distance runners who haven't done a lot of cross country running, and so those two grad transfers just are calming, steadying influences, and will be a big part of what we do.
Well, again, Coach, it starts. You want to get out there early, probably somewhere in the 9:30 range, and figure out the different places you want to get to watch the race. The course is the Griner Family Cross Country Course at Oklahoma State, and the first race 10 a.m. the men, 11 a.m. the women, and then of course the ceremonies, award ceremonies will be at noon. If you are listening to us from halfway across the world, some of you are, Big 12 Now on the ESPN Plus televises it, so you can catch that. But Coach, I appreciate it, and again, good luck with the championships coming up on Friday.
Thanks, Robert. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we like I said, the men were ranked number 5 in the country, but Iowa State's 2 and Texas is 14. So it's going to be a great battle and some of the best teams in the country. And we appreciate any support we can get out there.
All right, the price is right. It's free to watch Big 12 championship competition on the Oklahoma State campus coming up on Friday. We appreciate Coach being with us. Wish the Cowboys and Cowgirls good luck running on Friday. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back with more here on Sports Talk.